Marvel is coming off a strong 2024. At least that's what I think. I mean, Echo, X-Men 97, Deadpool and Wolverine, and especially Agatha All Along were all winners. And 2025 looks strong too. So maybe it's time to drop the narrative that the MCU dropped off after Endgame. Well, this is the Review of Champions, and I'm your host, Grandmaster. With me is a powerful panel made up of the finest champions Cigar has to offer. Let me introduce them to you. First up, we have Merv. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thank you for asking. Next up, we have the original Mr. Taylor First. How are you?
I'm excellent.
And last but not least, we have the voice only, Lord Deathman. How are you?
I am strong in the multiverse.
And we're going to need that because today we're going to talk about season 3 of What If. But before we do, I want to ask you all to help us out. Like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our forum at Cigar.freeforums.net. Click on the link in the description to set up an account and join our discussion. Consider this your final warning. After this point, we are spoiling the season, so if you haven't seen the season yet, do that first and then check out our review. What If Season 3 explores a few more of the endless possibilities in the multiverse, and while doing so, it gives us an interesting story, right? And if you heard this introduction before, you are right. It's the same one as I used for season 2. Sorry, not sorry that I got lazy. Merv, did you enjoy What If Season 3 without going into it too deep? You can do that later.
Sure. Yeah, I did. But
you say sure, it's not like you're hyped.
Yeah, I will call this like popcorn entertainment. Like I'm having fun while I'm watching it. You know, it's entertaining, but I don't really think about it afterward. Like it's not, and even in like a, not that everything I watch has to be super deep, but I don't even think like, I'd like to rewatch that. Like, there's a few spots here and there, but like overall, it's like it's okay. Like I'll watch it. It's my second favorite animated show that I'm watching right now out of the two. so that
I know the other one.
But to be clear, the What If season 1 and season 2 are pretty low on my MCU entertainment ranking, and that's not bad. I still enjoy them, but they're fine. Yeah.
Lord Deathman, Merv thinks it's meh. So, do you think it's meh?
It's hard for me to put this in like a bigger context when you look at the MCU, so I'm not really even going to try. What I'm going to say is that I've always found What If to be entertaining, even when I was reading the comic books of What If. But I feel like What If scratches a certain itch in the fandom. And I'm kind of sad that this is the last season of this. I was kind of hoping they would try to keep this around, even if they just did one-off episodes every now and again, because this is. I think in the comic book world, you tend to have fans that don't really care about story. I think it's fair to say that they're there not necessarily for the drama or the character development. They're really there kind of for the action, and they want to see different kinds of pairings of characters go up against each other. And it's hard to do that in the mainline MCU because you don't want to write stories that make no sense and only exist so that two of your favorite characters, like Red Guardian and Winter Soldier, could have a fight, right? We want to hold the writers up to a better standard where they make more logical decisions. But What If gives you this outlet where you could pair any two or three characters together whimsically in a story and put it under the What If banner. And then those fans that are not necessarily there for all the deep story building kind of get what they want. They want to see giant robots. They want to see Hulk monsters. Kind of the Avengers. right? They're up for a specific contest, and that kind of allows that's what if allows. So I enjoyed it, is what I will say, the season overall, and looking forward to deep diving into a couple of favorite picks and that kind of thing.
God bless you, Merv. Taylor, quick thoughts on season 3 of What If?
I enjoyed this show. I enjoy it as a cartoon series with MCU characters in it. Marvel actually has a lot of animated shows out there that aren't directly connected to the MCU. This one is more connected to the MCU.
Yeah.
Again, overall, I like it. I like some episodes more than other episodes. The one complaint that I've had throughout the whole 3 seasons, and you've heard me say this before, is I don't really, and it's just personal preference, I don't really care for the overarching storyline with the Watcher and Captain Carter. I would have preferred if they would just stayed as standalone anthology series narrated by the Watcher. But regardless, that's the direction they decided to go with to bring it together. And like I said, it's enjoyable. I watch it. I'm glad I watch it. Might revisit some episodes someday. I'm kind of glad that they are stopping it now, just because they need to really wind down the multiverse stuff overall throughout the MCU. I know they still have a ways to go, but I think as right now is a little bit overkill with multiverse stuff in general. And I think I mean, Deadpool and everyone else has kind of recognized it at this point. But yeah, as far as the show goes, yeah, it's fine. It's entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. Lord Deathman, my biggest problem with the whole What If show throughout season 1, 2, and 3 is that that all the episodes were fun in a way, and it's characters we know. I like that fact that they brought in the newer characters in the season 3, like Moon Knight and Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop and you name them. But what I actually miss is like alternate takes on things we have seen. I mean, we got that in the very first episode. What if Peggy Carter got the serum? The first episode of season 1 had that. But after that, we hardly have seen that at all. I mean, we never got like an alternate take uh, on decisions of characters in that movie and then build on that. It's more like, and especially in season 3, it seems they just let that go and just, like you said before, just pair characters together, try to make a cool story, make them fight, so you get like instant gratification. But yeah, there's not really substance there. Maybe there shouldn't be, but I leave that up to you to judge. And if you have negatives of your own, please share.
Absolutely. So I couldn't agree with you more on that point. That What If works the best to me, not just as an animated show, but as a concept in Marvel when you are deconstructing an already existing event. So if you had like a major event, and what if it was Betty Ross that was exposed to the gamma bomb, right? And she became the She-Hulk, as opposed to David Banner, right? Bruce Banner. So like that's where it operates the best to me dramatically, when you're seeing a different take on an existing event. But I do feel like, maybe criticism over the 3 seasons kind of led the creative team to say, let's bring the audience in with a hook, like, giant robots and mechs to kind of sell the episode. And then when they get here, we will do like the kind of higher quality drama between the new Captain America and Hulk, in terms of exploring some type of a relationship between those two characters dramatically. So I do feel that they tried some gimmicky hooks in these episodes, but some of these episodes I think are purely delightful. It's hard for me to pick a favorite, but wow, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it might have actually been What If Howard the Duck Got Hitched, because that just divorces itself completely from any continuity burdens, any logic. It kind of just tells this kind of rip roaring story that goes in all these different directions. And it's pretty funny. It's pretty charming if you can kind of be less anal retentive as a fan and not worry about power levels and who did this and where they would have been at this moment. I kind of just liked the free for all that episode is and the energy that it brought to the table, and it kind of just let me relax and turn my connecting brain off in terms of trying to find where all the threads and pieces go together. But there were a couple of strong ones. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail, so I'm going to go into like three that I think were really great, and then like one or two that I didn't like at all. So
Mhm.
I really enjoyed What If the Red Guardian Stopped the Winter Soldier? I thought that was an excellent pairing, and I always love super soldier action. I like the locales that place took those two characters to, and I kind of like the dynamic, even though it might have leaned a little too much on the comedic pairing, but that's appropriate for a character like uh, Red Guardian, who I think is the comedic foil in that episode. I also liked What If the Emergence Destroyed the Earth? And I'll be the first to admit that this episode makes absolutely no sense. They take an event that involved the Celestials, then bring Riri Williams into it, and then somehow add Mysterio to the
Yeah.
mix. But in any event, it seemed to work to me. And even if it didn't, even if I'm just biased as all hell, I really loved the callbacks to the Superior Iron Man, which is a comic book run that I recommend the champions and our audience check out. Riri gets a makeover in terms of her suit and armor that's kind of inspired by the white spectral vision. And that also is inspired by the superior Iron Man armor of the comic books. And I love the fact that they just dug so deep for that cut to make her into that. And I thought she was a pretty strong character in terms of, even though the events not quite lining up or making sense, I thought she was a good character to kind of put in there. But again, what is Quentin Beck doing here? It all seemed kind of really random. But the last episode that I'll point out in terms of one that I thought was fairly strong, and I guess this is just going to be, two for one. The last two episodes, I know people are really tired of the multiverse and stories with Utah and that kind of overarching. But I just thought that it was a good way to kind of end the series by focusing on the guy who is kind of the narrator and doing a story that kind of involved him. So those are the ones I really liked. The ones that I think where they went really far afield were probably What If Agatha Went to Hollywood? That yeah, a nonsensical pairing, even though at times in the episode they make it kind of work out dramatically. But I think they were just kind of saying, like somebody was like, well, what if Agatha had the power of a celestial? And we'll write an episode around that entire premise. So couldn't quite get behind that one. And honestly, I was really not a fan of the What If the Hulk Fought the Mech Avengers? Another gimmick, right? It just feels like somebody was a fan of Voltron or these kinds of Transformer robots of the 80s and said, I wonder if I could write a Marvel What If episode around robots. Like what characters do I have to get to make this work? So kind of felt gimmicky. Also the villain, the alpha or apex or whatever kind of Hulk monster and its
Just
spawn.
call him Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla, whatever it was, just really had absolutely no substance. And again, you can just tell that somebody dreamed up that episode so that those confrontations could happen specifically. There was just no dramatic framework for it. But overall, I am kind of sad to see the series go. I would love for them maybe just not make them in so much volume. Maybe they could be one-off anthologies that they put out every once in a while. But I, I'm kind of sad that they're just kind of giving up on the concept altogether. But I do acquiesce to what Taylor is saying in that it is time to wind down multiverse storytelling in general.
Mm, yeah. That I'm 100% on board with. But I was never on board with the multiverse to begin with. So, Taylor, um, criticisms of season 3, highlights of season 3, favorite episodes, least favorite episodes. Give it to me.
Well, I really liked the episode with Agatha. Of course, I love everything that's old Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that they brought in Kingo and they mentioned the other Eternals. I love that Howard Stark was there. We have seen Howard Stark making movies before in the Agent Carter series. He was out in Hollywood making movies for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit from our own universe. I just love that episode. It was just fun. I also like the episode that Lord Deathman mentioned about the emergence destroyed the world, just because it brought in so many characters. Not just Riri Williams, but like you said, you had Mysterio, you had Wong, you had White Vision. Just how else would you bring all those characters together in one crazy story there? I like Western, so I liked the Western episode with Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop. I thought that was mostly fun. I thought it was a little odd with that. The villain was the Hood, which turned out to be his sister, but I guess the powers came from the cape, the cloak itself. I was a little confused. What is this thing? I thought maybe for a moment I thought maybe it was like Doctor Strange's cape, you know, and that somehow it bestowed powers. They never really explained it. Didn't really have to though. I mean, it was still a good, fun episode. The martial arts fight action choreography was really well staged and well executed in that episode. Of course, it was over the top. It wasn't like, real human beings fighting, but it was, still very well executed, well staged, so that it looked really good in the animation. I liked the Winter Soldier and Red Guardian episode. Again, a lot of fun. Red Guardian is always a fun character. Winter Soldier is a super cool character. One problem I've had with this show throughout is some of the animation, like some of the characters are drawn and they look exactly like the actor playing them in live action, and others don't look anything like the actor playing them. Red Guardian, for example, that did not look anything like David Harbour. Not at all. It was just this generic white guy face. There's no character to it at all. And I don't know why they had that problem quite a few times. The episode with Darcy and Howard the Duck, yeah, it was fun and funny and over the top, and Loki running a ski resort and everything. That was all. It was a lot of fun, and they used that to introduce the character, the egg, the Ducky, I guess was her name, in the finale 2 episodes. Which again, I believe that character is completely created for this show. I don't think she's been in the comics. Correct me if I'm wrong. But and last season they created the Indian girl character. I can't remember her name, which was created strictly for the show. And I don't really think they needed to do that. Marvel has more than enough characters already out there that have already appeared in the MCU or who have not appeared in the MCU yet that they could have drawn upon. I didn't see a need to start to create new characters, but they did what they did. As far as the big finale goes, again, I didn't really want there to be a big finale where they all get together and they, fight the other watchers and all that. But it was well executed. I mean, what's the deal? You just have to say a few words and you become a watcher and you have unlimited power. Is that how it works? Or did I miss
Pretty
something
much.
there? Okay.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they didn't even get the big heads. That would have looked cool if they all had a big giant head.
Well,
All they got was the glowing eyes.
Well,
But
and if you just go to like a shop class and you pick up a hammer, you can get the power of 4. So
it's fair.
Exactly. But the one thing I didn't like about the final finale, man, 5 against 3, that's not fair. There should have been two more bad guy watchers, so it would have been more of a fair fight, man. They were ganging up on those poor big-headed guys. But overall, like I said, it's a cartoon TV series, and it's pretty well done on that level. So I'm mostly satisfied with the show overall.
Okay, Merv. You any particular critique, highlights, favorite episodes, least favorite episodes?
Yeah, just in general, because I didn't really touch on it earlier, but I share a lot of the same problems that a lot of you guys seem to, which is like this is like a mix between What If it has always been, but season 3 also is like a mix between anthology and continuous storytelling, and it's like the worst version of both of those things to me. So it's just a little bit down here. So just that's a general critique. Animationally, for the most part, with the exception, I agree with Taylor about like being able to like the features of certain characters just don't seem to match. I had a hard time in some of these episodes telling who was who with some of the facial features. They all just seem blank to me. But in general, a lot of the animation's great. And even some scenes are spectacular as far as like color and that sort of thing goes. Visually, I think it's really fun to look at for the most part. Um, a few like I would consider them maybe missed opportunities, at least for me. Episode 1 starts with like an 80s style animation with the Voltron thing. I wish they would have kept that for the whole episode. I think they would have made that stand out a lot more. And I feel like why not? You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna do this Voltron versus Godzilla story anyway, like make it look like the '80s, make it look like old Voltron and whatever. I thought that would have been really cool when as soon as it went to like the What If classic, animation, I was immediately like a little bit, a little grumbled. Um, Kind of the same thing with Agatha. I don't remember exactly, but I remember it started out like with a vintage look to it, like that old Hollywood feel, and then it went eventually to the thing. And I don't know if it's like a budgetary thing or just a stylistic choice, but I wish they would have just kept that style for that episode. While you're in old Hollywood, just let it be old Hollywood style. I really like those touches. I just wish it would have done it for the whole episode. Aside from that, the one that really sticks out to me that I really enjoyed pretty much start to finish was the 1872 one, the Western. I also really like Westerns, so it was an easy sell. And I'm also a fan of the Hood, the comic book character. So I was really excited whenever they mentioned the Hood. And then throughout the telling of the story, I just knew it was going to be the sister. And I was a little bit disappointed because I thought, well, this is an interesting way to break the ice on the Hood character, whose name is Parker Robbins, and introduce him via this, so that whenever you introduce him later, because he's supposed to be in something coming up, maybe the Ironheart show or something like that, if that's still a green light. But they were talking about bringing him in as a character, and I thought, oh, this is a cool icebreaker to bring that character in, to introduce him to the MCU audience, at least whatever ones watch this show. Even if it's a different version of it, which maybe that would be confusing, but so is What If. But then it was obvious it was going to be the sisters, so I was a little bit disappointed. But they kept the Hood powers the same, so I thought that was really cool, because the Hood powers is the Hood. Like the Hood power, his abilities come from the Hood, which is a relic of Dormammu, who's the Doctor Strange villain. So there's ties there, and it basically gives you like invisibility and the ability of flight and things like that. But you have to hold your breath, which is another thing that the character does in the episode. Which I was like, oh, cool! They kept those little touches that, like, if you know about the Hood character, that you'd recognize that. So I just thought that was really cool from a fan of the Hood watching this episode, even though they didn't use the character Parker. They used the actual hooded, piece of equipment. I do wish they would have brought Parker Robbins in, but it was cool seeing the other character as well. I forget the villain from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I can't remember his name, but he's always fun.
Walton Goggins, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Walton Goggins, the actor, whatever role he's in, he's always fun. The other one, I agree. I think the Winter Soldier Red Guardian episode was a pretty strong one. It was just fun seeing them team up. And then that got me a little bit more excited for Thunderbolts. Just seeing those couple of connections there, the possibility of connections. Obviously this isn't canon, but I mean that's kind of it. There were highlights in the last 2 episodes that I enjoyed, and every episode has some fun to it and some excitement. But as far as like the standouts, that was pretty it. I don't know. if this is like the through line story for these 3 seasons of What If, that the story is so vague and so random. It seems like the character that's introduced as a baby in episode 4 is like one of the heroes saving the galaxy, universe, multiverse at the end of this season, and it's just like there's no real build up there, so it's hard to be like super excited, even though again it's just fun to watch. Like the animation's fun and the action's fun, but like I don't feel like huge payoffs whenever this thing's happen. So, couple highlights, couple criticisms, but overall it's fine. It's fine animation. It's fine animated show. But
Yeah, my least favorite episode was the first one, and my favorite episode was the one with Agatha and Kingo. I really liked that one. Yeah, it was really set up. Sorry, Lord Deathman, we're all ganging up on you when it comes to that one.
Oh yeah, no worries there. No worries there.
Okay.
I thought it was great to have the Eternals mythology sort of brought back into the MCU in some way. So
Yeah,
it had that going for it.
Yep.
I'm still hoping Eternals 2 will happen at some point. It should, but
Yes. And Catherine Hahn was actually really good in that episode too.
Yes,
Yeah.
as she always is. Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine Hahn is adorable. You know what? Enough talk. Let's do numbers. I'm going to start with you, Lord Deathman. What is your rating for season 3 of What If?
Yeah, this is really tough, but I will say the show is excellent in terms of animation. I do share some of the concerns of the rest of the champions regarding facial likenesses, and I've been reading around the web, and no one really knows anything about all this stuff, but likenesses in terms of what's been negotiated with actors and so forth and so on may have been a contributing factor there, may or may not, but who knows. The one thing that does bother me about the animation is that sometimes it kind of gets a little too dynamic and people turn into rubber, for some of their action sequences and things like that. But that being said, most of the time, strong animation. I love the fact that they go out of their way to get some of the original voice actors from the movies. And overall, I'm not terribly offended by multiverse storytelling, although I do capitulate that we've had way too much of it lately. So I think I have to end the show. The season review for this show for me is going to be a 7.
Fair. Merv.
yeah, I'm also gonna go. I'm gonna go 6, just because this is like kind of middle of the road entertainment for me, but like bottom of the road MCU wise. You know what I mean? Like this is one of my least favorite things about the MCU, but it's still entertaining enough to watch. So I was gonna go. I thought about going 7. I'm gonna drop it to a 6 just to, give it some room between that and the stuff that I would actually really like to rewatch a lot of. That sounds like a harsher criticism than I'm meaning it to be, but this is just something I watch and then I kind of forget about until a next season drops. And since there's no more seasons, I'll probably only watch this again on a rewatch of the entire MCU.
Taylor?
I give the season an 8 out of 10.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Merv and go 6 out of 10. To me, it's just it's fun to watch, like Taylor said, like Merv said, but it's nothing special, and in the overall MCU context, doesn't mean anything. And I really think they have missed opportunities to just show us alternatives for the movies and shows we've seen, and I think that's a pity. So 6 out of 10 for me.
You know what would have been cool? If they had put out a contest or put out an announcement for fans, write in your what if. Give us a what if, one sentence, what if this, and we'll pick the best ones and write episodes for them.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Pitched for season 4.
Yeah. Oh, and sometimes they listen to Taylor, so who knows? That will conclude this review of Champions for Season 3 of What If. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. If you did, you can help us out. Like and share this review and subscribe to our channel. And if you really want more of us, join our forum at sucar.freeforums.net. You can also check out our review series for Skeleton Crew currently running on our channel. And if you're into Star Trek, we also have a new Star Trek Projects episode out. Next Generation Season 3. And in a few weeks, we will be reviewing Creature Commandos, the first outing in the DCU. So there's something there for everybody. For now, I want to thank you all, also on behalf of our champions, and wish you to be safe and be well. Bye.